You're watching Behind the Screens. Grab some popcorn, fill up a drink, and take a seat. Our feature presentation is about to begin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you may be listening. Welcome back to another brand new episode of Behind the Screens. I'm Chris Chase, and joined as always is my co-host and best friend, Mike Lekowit. Mike, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing very well today, Chris, and I'm very excited to be joining all of our viewers again for another episode of Behind the Screens.
Yep, and we've got a doozy for this one, because today's movie is interesting, to say the least.
Oh yes, possibly, and I'm thinking not so much possibly anymore the more I think about it. This is the first film that me and Chris went to see in theaters together 5 years ago, way back when we was in high school around junior year, correct?
Yeah, around there.
Oh my god, 2016 was a crazy year all around for all of those of you who remember 5 years ago. And one thing that definitely people will be remembering most about that year is this film, the next installment of the DC Cinematic Universe, film number 2 of 10 as of the recording of this audio, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Oh boy, this movie is notorious for being possibly one of the worst superhero movies of all time, and probably one of the most convoluted comic book movies of all time.
Indeed, a very much convoluted style of storytelling from beginning to end. Director Zack Snyder returns to give us an upping the ante of his original founding inaugural film of the DC Cinematic Universe, Man of Steel, to which we have already covered on this podcast. But this film doubles down on what that film already gave, and then some.
Yeah, before we go into it, this movie's reception is interesting because it did fine over the first weekend, but by its sixth weekend, audiences dropped 68%.
Exactly.
And to put that in reference, Batman and Robin dropped 63% of their audience in their second weekend. So more people went and saw that movie rather than Batman v Superman.
Which was insane to think about it. And back in the day, I can totally understand being the novice DC comic books person I was when I was 16, may not have had the same enthusiasm for a film like this as I would had I gone to see it today. But I will say, Zack Snyder gave his all when making this movie, but not everything, as of course we'll cover later on in future podcast installments.
Yeah.
Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice was released in March of 2016, directed by Zack Snyder, co-written by Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer, produced by Mr. Snyder and his wife, his lovely wife. Mm-hmm. The film stars Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Jesse Eisenberg, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Jeremy Adams, Holly Hunter, and Gal Gadot.
We've got a few good actors here, and it's going to be interesting to talk about.
Fantabulous actors, the second installment of the DC Cinematic Universe, following 1.5 years after the events of Man of Steel, dealing with the fallout and the inevitable heading that would be coming of such a big event that happened at the end of that movie when, yes, Superman saved Metropolis from the grip and the tyranny of the evil General Zod.
But at what cost?
But at what cost exactly? Now we must get into the regular plot synopsis of this movie. Afterwards, we will talk about its successes and its failures, our personal feelings behind the scenes, and awards the film may have won before closing out today.
Alright, now we will be covering the Ultimate Edition, meaning the 3-hour cut of this film, so we'll get into that once we're done with the synopsis. But anyway, let's dig into Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
In a flashback to his childhood, Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck, runs from his parents' funeral. He falls into a cave where a circling vortex of bats elevates him back to the surface. Back in the present, 18 months have passed after the battle of Superman and General Zod in Metropolis, otherwise known as the Black Zero event, I believe.
Black Zero, interesting.
Superman has become a controversial figure due to the massive destruction of the city and many of the lives lost. Bruce is now a billionaire who has operated in Gotham City as the vigilante Batman for the past 20 years. Having witnessed the chaos of that battle in person, he sees Superman as an existential threat to not only Gotham, not only Metropolis, but the entire world and humanity as a whole. After learning of Batman's form of justice, Clark Kent, Superman's civilian identity, seeks to expose him via the Daily Planet articles. Wayne learns that Russian weapons trafficker Anatoly Kazanev?
I think it's
Kashnev, aka comic villain the KG Beast. He's in this movie for some odd reason, which I didn't learn until years later, but let's get back to this. KG Beast has been contacting LexCorp mogul Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg in this movie. Meanwhile, Luthor attempts to persuade Senator June Finch, played by the amazing Holly Hunter, to allow him to transport a piece of kryptonite discovered after Zod's terraforming attempt, so that it can be used as a deterrent against future Kryptonian and metahuman threats and invasions. She declines, but Luthor makes alternative plans with Finch's subordinate, granting him access to Zod's body and the Kryptonian ship that landed in Metropolis. Bruce attends a gala at LexCorp to steal encrypted data from the company's mainframe, but Antiquities dealer Diana Prince, played by the luscious and very well-talented Gal Gadot, takes it from him. She returns it after failing to access the information. While decrypting the drive, Bruce dreams of a post-apocalyptic world where he leads rebels against an evil Superman. Wait, what?
Wait, hold on. What? When did this become Injustice?
Back to the plot. He is awakened by an unidentified person in a very ridiculous-looking red costume and a very ugly, scraggly beard. Appearing through a portal, who tells him that Lois Lane, she's the key. Am I too soon?
Yes.
I don't understand what's happening here. And this person urges him to find the others before vanishing, and Bruce wakes up again from a second dream, I guess.
Huh? Was he talking Snyder? What?
The decrypted drive reveals Luthor's files on several metahumans across the world. One of which is Diana, who appears in a photo from all the way back in World War I.
Not World War II. World War I. Sorry, Wonder Woman purists.
Wayne tells his butler, Alfred Pennyworth, played by the so very hilarious Jeremy Irons,
good pick,
that he plans to steal and weaponize the kryptonite if necessary to fight and possibly kill Superman. A wildly publicized congressional hearing led by June Finch is held to question Superman's actions against Zod and his recent actions as a whole ever since the attack by the Kryptonians. A bomb smuggled in by Luthor detonates inside the Capitol building, killing everybody present except for Superman.
Of course.
Superman blames himself for not detecting it in time and self-imposes exile himself in the mountains. Elsewhere, Batman breaks into LexCorp and steals the kryptonite. He builds a powered exoskeleton, a kryptonite grenade launcher, and a kryptonite-tipped spear. Meanwhile, Luthor enters the Kryptonian ship and accesses its vast databases of technology. Luthor lures Superman out of exile by kidnapping Lois and Martha, his mother. He pushes Lois off of the LexCorp building. Superman, of course, comes to her rescue and confronts Luthor on the rooftop, who reveals that he manipulated him and Batman by fueling their distrust for one another. Luthor demands that he kill Batman in exchange for his mother's life. Superman tries to explain this to Batman, who instead attacks him and eventually subdues him by using kryptonite gas from the rock he recovered. As Batman prepares to move in for the kill using the spear, Superman pleads for him to save Martha.
Oh, dear God.
Which is the same name as Bruce Wayne's mother, guys. For all of you who don't know this, Batman hesitates in confusion long enough with his mouth hanging open like a dumbass. Lois arrives to explain what Superman meant. Coming to his senses after how far he has fallen from grace, he promises to rescue Superman's mother. Superman regains his strength and confronts Luthor on the Kryptonian ship. Luthor executes his backup plan, unleashing a monster genetically engineered from both his DNA and Zod's body. Diana arrives, joining Batman and Superman in their fight against the creature. Superman, realizing its vulnerability to kryptonite, and retrieves the spear, fatally impaling the creature with it. However, in its dying moments, the creature retaliates and kills Superman, who is exposed by the spear's kryptonite power.
Wait. You kill Superman in the second movie?
Yeah.
Where's the logic in that?
Yeah, he did. Sorry, he did. Following Luthor's arrest, Batman confronts him in prison, warning him that he will always be watching. Luthor gloats that Superman's death has made the world vulnerable to powerful alien threats from beyond the stars. A memorial is held for Superman in Metropolis. Clark Kent is also declared dead, and Wayne and Prince both attend his funeral in Smallville from afar. Martha gives Lois an envelope containing an engagement ring from Clark, who was going to tell her before, well, all this happened.
Yeah.
Bruce tells Diana that he regrets having failed Superman in life. He asks for her help to form a team of metahumans, starting with those named in Luthor's files, to protect the world in Superman's absence. As they depart the funeral, the dirt atop Clark's coffin starts to rise.
Oh boy, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
There is a lot to unpack here. This film is 3 hours long.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, it really goes deep into how much all this stuff is happening really fast. Let me tell you, in my personal opinion, folks, this is 3 one-hour stories shoved together in the hopes that it will magically work.
Let me just sum this up for you. This is trying to be Man of Steel, The Dark Knight, Wonder Woman, Dark Knight Returns, and Batman v Superman all in one movie.
It really is, though.
It's that convoluted.
Can you blame them? One of the dudes who wrote the Dark Knight trilogy wrote this movie. Like, how can you blame David S. Goyer is a very good comic book writer. I'm just not sure he's the greatest comic book movie writer of all time. Because
no, that honor goes to... Actually, there are a couple good ones like that.
Good ones like James Gunn. Yeah, definitely one of those.
You could say Chris Nolan.
Chris Nolan, technically, possibly the Russo brothers, but I'm like, not sure if they wrote this stuff.
They didn't.
That's
but
what
they
I'm
were,
thinking.
But whatever.
But basically, now we have to talk about the stuff going up from down, the positives, the negatives, the characters, and the story. Where do we begin but with this film's box office return numbers? This movie was made on a $275 million budget.
It definitely shows.
But only made back $874 million at the box office, combining those totals together. This film made just barely over 3 times its money back.
That's not so bad.
Which is not so bad, but they spent so much on it. I'm guessing they wanted at least double the money they made on this.
Well, if this is the way Warner Brothers wants to catch up to Marvel, then I guess that's how you do it.
Yeah, basically, folks, if you guys haven't realized by how little that plot made sense, DC was desperately trying to catch up to the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they had their first film 5 years after they started, and it took them 3 years to get their next film out.
Yeah, and now they're pushing films left and right.
So very hard to catch up to the money success that Disney has had for the last 10, nearly 15 years, and their rushed and sloppy maneuvering, production, everything shows in this film and the franchise's next film, to which we'll get to at a later date. The film... Zack Snyder stated that the film would take inspiration from the Batman comic series The Dark Knight Returns, but clarified that it would follow an original premise. The incarnation of Batman in this movie is different from the character's previous portrayals in stuff like the Nolan trilogy, serving as a cinematic reboot to the character, meaning that Ben Affleck became the official film Batman in 2016.
I guess so.
Yep. The film is also inspired by the narrative elements from the death of Superman, only really in the last...
only the last act it really was influenced by.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's only influence at the end when they shove Doomsday in there for no reason.
Yeah, that's like 5
God.
Supermans with a fist for a brain.
Exactly. Let me tell you right here. Following a strong debut at the box office, like my good friend Chris said, it had a historic drop in its second week. Despite turning a massive profit, it was deemed a box office disappointment and received generally unfavorable reviews from critics for its tone, pacing, though it was praised several times over for its visual style and the performances of several actors, most notably Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill.
Oh, well, should we just go into the specifics there?
Yes, let's go into the casting department right here, right now. We'll be doing the same thing that we did with the MCU and the X-Men videos. We won't go too much into the characters that we've already seen before. We'll just say how we feel about them in this story in particular. But so, of course, starting off at the top billing, Ben Affleck as Batman.
Okay. when I first heard that Ben Affleck was going to be the next Batman, I thought to myself, seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, he was the bomb in Phantoms, but he was also Daredevil. Mm-hmm. Unless we talk about that movie, the better.
Indeed.
Yeah. Before the MCU, they were not that really good Marvel movies besides Spider-Man and X-Men. But anyways, and then I saw Ben Affleck in the Batman suit, and I look at Mike. I'm thinking to myself, wow, that is a great looking Batman.
Oh my god,
like the costume itself was really influenced by Dark Knight Returns with the way the cowl looks and the symbol looks, but I really liked it.
Yeah, because like your truth be told, back in 2016, I really had no concept of who Ben Affleck was. Apparently, he was somebody that everybody liked for a little bit, and then he kind of dropped off for a good long time before eventually coming back. But in the last 5 years, looking at the movie now for this particular episode of Behind the Screens, I will say that I really do admire Ben Affleck and all of the work that he put in to make this character the person that we see today. Even though it's not really the best well-made movie, at least in my opinion. Specifically, I will let you guys know in the future. But as of right now, even though there's a lot about this movie that is not good, I can piece together and find the good bits of everything that is bad. For all of the flaws that Batman has in this movie, the fact that we don't know that much about this version of Bruce Wayne, all that we know is that he's old, he's battle-hardened, he's cold to the very core, he's not warm and loving like most Batmans are deep down. He's very much cold and calculating and very brutal at times, branding people for seemingly...
Yeah, that was like... What? Why?
Exactly.
Why is there a brand? He brands criminals? Since when does that happen?
Well, I mean, I can only see him as how he's going to the greatest extremes to try and stop the problem of crime.
Yeah, but...
It really does fit into stuff that I see from all of Bruce Wayne, from all the different points of his life. This is the point of Batman's story where he used to be so gung-ho about fighting crime and saving Gotham. Now he just wants to just do whatever he can. The criminals just keep comping and he just keeps getting weaker and older. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, but... Oh, God.
I do have to say, though, Ben Affleck put on an amazing performance
Yes,
here.
absolutely.
Very convincing.
Yeah, he brought on, the dark broodiness of Batman, considering what is going on in this version of Gotham and everything. He's
Precisely.
Yeah, and considering the fact, look, there's a constant reminder. In this movie... There's a Robin costume in the Batcave where it's graffitied, ha-ha, joke's on you, Batman.
Yes.
So it's possible that, of course, like the comics, Joker killed Robin, but is it Jason Todd or was it Dick Grayson?
It was Dick Grayson.
Was it?
Yeah.
Come on!
Right out of the gate, Dick Grayson dies in the cinematic universe, and that immediately just shuts down a bunch of stuff when showing what it is about this Batman. One thing that is so great about Batman and his cast characters is how many people that Bruce has helping him out. The family that he lost. This Batman never had a family to lose. After Dick died, he never found another sidekick. He never got Jason or Tim or anybody like that.
But this also was inspired by Dark Knight Returns because Dark Knight Returns is a possible alternate future where after Jason died, Bruce just stopped being Batman for 10 years.
Exactly, but for this series, it was Dick who died that got him to stop for a while before he came back. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that does suck. It looks great, but man, does it suck.
Yeah, but besides that, we could just agree right now that the best parts of this movie are just the Batman bits because we get to see him be Batman, like the way the Batarangs were, and honestly,
the Batarangs are great.
Yeah, and honestly, like the look of this version of the Batmobile I'm looking at here, I'm like, well, it does look like a tank, like the Tumbler, but at the same time, it looks like a tough car that you wouldn't want to see on the road.
Exactly, it feels like something taking the ideas of what was already there before, because Christopher Nolan helped to produce this movie as well as Man of Steel, probably lending some of his ideas, thinking, how can we make the Tumbler for the 2010s, something like that.
And give it turrets on the front.
And you know what? We got turrets. We got guns. We got jet boosters. We got all that great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, even though the Batmobile is not shown a lot in this movie, I do love this version of the Batmobile.
It's not one of my favorite versions of the Batmobile. That honor goes to either the Tumbler or the Arkham Knight Batmobile,
or the Burton Batmobile.
The Burton Batmobile is good, but but this version of the car, I like it because it's like a tank with brute force, just like the Tumbler, but it's also a fast car. So it embodies a few traits of the other Batmobiles we've seen in previous movies.
Exactly. The car is Batman, fast and strong. By the time you've seen him, you've already lost, which is so great like that. So if we had to to talk about in depth in just one or two sentences about Ben Affleck's Batman. He's very cold, calculating, but very well acted. However, if you like your Batmans like the animated series does, like the charming charisma of Christian Bale, you're not gonna find that, because this is a newer version of Batman, someone who at the time we had never really seen in live action before. And even though people weren't immediately ready to openly express it, I think over time it's aged quite well.
Yeah, except he stabs people and probably shoots somebody.
He definitely killed people.
Let's be honest, the kill count here is worse than 89 Batman.
Yeah, pretty much. For all of that's actually another turnoff for you guys. Okay, so this is something that before we go back to talking about how Henry Cavill has evolved since Man of Steel, I will say this. Batman does kill people in this movie.
Yeah,
it's very much apparent in both the apocalyptic dream sequence of the possible future and in the present time during the middle and final act when he's trying to get the kryptonite, when he's trying to save Superman's mom. He does kill at least a few people. And you know what? I really don't mind in this, because personally, as much as I whined and complained last time about the terrible trio episode of the Batman the Animated Series where Bruce was holding a gun and it was the end of the world, I do, because this is not that Bruce Wayne. This is a Bruce Wayne who has just had enough of crime fighting.
Getting too old for it?
Yeah, who is basically on the cusp of becoming too old to be that. He has learned so much and been through so much that he's like, you know what, I will just do whatever I have to do to get out on top. And you know what? I'm totally fine with it.
I'm semi-okay with it. In the post-apocalyptic dream sequence, I get it, because it's possible the world has gone down a bad place, that Batman had to drop his no-kill code to do anything necessary to survive.
Yeah.
But in this, it's weird.
Yeah, very weird.
I mean, at least Batman still beats the crap out of people, and for the way I looked at like the warehouse scene where he's saving Superman's mom, when he fights all those thugs, I was like, I'm looking at a scene from one of the Arkham games come to life on the big screen. I'm like, yes, this is a Batman that I see, because he's using punches, he's using kicks, he's using his gadgets. It's fun.
It's so much fun. So definitely give the thumbs up to Ben Affleck's Batman. Now let's go and look into our second look at Henry Cavill's Superman.
I feel like in this one he improved from Man of Steel a little bit.
I will definitely say he kind of either stayed the same or maybe go down a little bit. Henry Cavill was really good in Man of Steel. I found him to be the perfect body type, the perfect voice, the perfect amount of awkward silliness, and for as much as the movie would allow him to have those traits. Yeah. But in this movie, he seems to be exactly the same person. He barely has any lines of dialogue, and when he does, it's usually either too fast or feels out of place.
Or too weird.
Yeah, basically it's there are some very cute scenes when at the beginning of the movie after, Superman saves Lois from a bunch of terrorist guys, right?
Right.
At the very beginning of the movie. And that was really awesome. It shows Superman's power, abilities, and the relationship that's been established with him and Lois since the end of Man of Steel, showing that at least they have stayed consistent this entire time.
Right.
And of course, we have the very cute scene following that where he asked her how her day was and how things are going and if they can really keep going on the way they do. I really do like that scene.
Yeah, the relationship really evolved since last time, because we get to see more of it.
Yeah, I really do wish that we got more scenes of them together, honestly.
But I think the Ultimate Edition would have that, but nope.
No, because mind you, we get longer versions of already present scenes from the movie, but then again, it really doesn't add that much in the way of saying things. Superman in this movie is more of a he's seen as a godlike figure with godlike powers. I mean,
that's how he is.
I know, but it's the whole thesis of this movie. It shows that it's trying to showcase a realistic depiction of what would happen if the DC heroes lived in the real world. What kind of politics would happen? What kind of events would be set in place if a man who is faster than a speeding bullet, who can freeze over half the planet by just sneezing or blinking wrong, could blow up the sun? But the kind of stuff that Superman could do. And funny enough, I'm going to look up something funny that I found out only after we finished the Man of Steel review.
Oh, really?
Now, going into the themes of, I do not mean to backtrack, I just want to clarify this. Many reviewers interpreted Man of Steel as a religious allegory, especially since Warner Brothers set up a website after the film came out in 2013, which contains a 9-page pamphlet entitled Jesus the Original Superhero.
Well,
they were pushing for Man of Steel to be like a Jesus allegory, that, Superman is supposed to be the all-powerful savior of humanity, that they're taking his good-natured Boy Scout nature of being humanity's protector way too far. And,
yeah, even I admit, even though Superman is supposed to be portrayed as like a godlike figure, I think that's pushing it.
This movie very much pushes it. And even though, mind you, the extended cut of this movie, the director's cut, does make it an R-rated film. So this is a film for mature audiences, which is very interesting to think about because the X-Men film franchise had their R-rated movies there with Deadpool and Logan. The DC Cinematic Universe is the only one of the three main ones that we have in the modern day, still counting X-Men even though that one's over, which has an R-rated movie in the first phase. They show right out of the gate that they're going to be way more mature than either of the other two.
And yet Marvel doesn't do that. They stay at a constant line at PG-13.
A constant line of PG-13 for 15 years. But of course, one unfortunate downside of having more mature storytelling, especially R-rated storytelling, is that we don't really get to see a lot of the stuff that people mostly see from Superman. We know as Superman is the guy coming to save the day, save cats from trees, give grandmothers across the street, stopping subways that are derailed, saving stopping bank robbers, and stuff like that. We don't really see much of that in this movie.
No, honestly, with the way some of the scenes play out, Superman's more broody and moody than Batman.
Which is so weird. Think about
because it's Superman. He's supposed to resemble Hulk. Hey, he's wearing bright colors, yet they're a little darker this time.
Yeah, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we have to remember that this is a Superman who has killed before. He took his life, and it's probably still daunting on him.
It's been a year and a half. You think he'd move on?
You think that he'd be at least slowly moving towards the point of moving on, but I suppose it's really hard to when most of the world kind of hates your guts for what happened.
I guess it makes some kind of
sense. They
sense.
do blame you for all of their problems, and that really does go to another thing. They try to turn Superman into a scapegoat for all the world's problems.
Yeah, because there's this one scene in the movie where this handicapped guy who lost his legs in the Metropolis incident, he went to the park and on the statue of Superman, he spray paints false God. And I'm like, okay, that's a bit much.
I should maybe clarify, folks. They made a statue of Superman in the Metropolis Central Park following the events of the attack, which is very strange because if the world hates Superman for causing thousands of people's deaths and billions of dollars in property damage, why would you build a statue to him in the park?
He did still save the city, but... Okay, sometimes the logic in this movie is really weird.
If he spray paints it and then they call it a terrorist attack.
Well, to be fair though, it's graffitiing and also signs of terrorism. How do you turn this guy as a terrorist? All he did was graffiti.
It's so weird. This dude used to work for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And he lost his legs when one of the buildings that Superman knocked down fell on top of him.
Right.
Average Tuesday in the DC universe.
That's it.
Of course, Lex Luthor sees this dude as his ace in the hole. He brings a new, more powerful wheelchair that looks so cool and whatnot.
And in the scene where it's the only time we see an F-bomb.
Yeah, this is the cinematic universe's first F-word, and there'd be many more afterwards. But let it be known, this doofus who had a building fall on top of him and killed everybody in the Congress building is the one who said the cinematic universe's defining F-word. In X-Men, it was Wolverine. In DC, it was wheelchair guy.
Yeah, and Marvel's got nothing.
Yeah, Marvel has nothing so far.
No, almost. Spider-Man almost said it.
Almost, yeah. Okay, so basically, Lex Luthor convinces this guy to go to the Congress building to try to speak against Superman, who is there, as we said, for the congressional hearing about what happened in the desert at the start of the movie. Now, I know that we're kind of jumping around here, but this movie has no focus, so neither is this episode.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the best way to describe this movie. There may be a plot, but it doesn't really focus anywhere. It just jumps all over the place, like how we're jumping all over the place.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Yep. So basically, we'll go back to the start of that, like at the start of the review. But needless to say, Superman in this movie, he's basically the same person we saw in Man of Steel, just more moodier, more brooding, with like a lot more of his powers being shown, a lot more fight scenes with him. He's fine. I do think it's like, it really does stink because I loved Henry Cavill in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I thought he was the perfect outlooking for Superman. It's just that the writing and directing do not reflect his best qualities as Superman, not till his quote-unquote future appearances, of course.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I do think that he did a serviceable job, but not to the level of Ben Affleck.
That's true, yeah.
So I would give him the middle thumb. For Henry Cavill's performance as Man of Steel.
Hey.
Now, hopefully, we'll get through the rest of the characters much quicker than that. We got Amy Adams back as Lois Lane.
She's fine.
Exactly the same as she was in Man of Steel 2. She's spunky. She's, she's really tough, really, pushing to get the truth no matter the cost. She really goes all of the lengths to be able to do all these things. She, pushes up to Perry White. She pushes up to Lex Luthor. She pushes up to everybody at the, all freaking over the place.
Yep.
Especially going into, even though her life is in danger, even though she does make some really bad decisions in the final act of the movie, I still think her performance is just as good as it was back in back in Man of Steel. So Amy Adams definitely did a good enough job, the same as Henry Cavill did a good enough job.
All right.
Okay, next up is, who be this one? Diane Lane is back as Martha Kent.
She honestly is it's like, I think like with Lois, same about as good a performance as Man of Steel.
Even still, like with a lot less scenes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even though I loved all of the scenes that she was in, because Diane Lane is so fantastic.
Yeah, she's an amazing actress.
I know, she's so comforting and warming, the perfect person to play a mother figure. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Superman calls his mother in the dead of night asking her for advice.
That was really nice.
That is a really humanizing moment, and it's something that I could totally see Superman doing.
Yeah.
And it's something I really do enjoy seeing, all those things forward.
Yeah, and also the scene in the warehouse where Batman saves her. The fact that she is okay then and knows right away that Batman is a friend of his son's because of the cape. I'm thinking to myself,
I knew. That's hilarious.
Because of the cape, I'm thinking to myself, yep, she's used to this.
She is so fantastic. I really did care for her safety at the end of this movie. It was jaw-dropping how easily she could have died. How she was only seconds away from death, but thankfully everything was okay at the end. I really did feel for her and Lois when they lost Clark at the end of the movie. It really feels like she's lost everything that's meant goodness and dear to her.
Yeah.
Because, after, losing the love of her life, now she's lost the second love of her life. Yeah. The, last beacon of hope in her world of what could have been. The same way with Lois, too. The fact of the matter is, she didn't know if he was really a figure to be trusted until he saved billions of lives. So really, how do you feel for someone who's lost essentially the closest thing that we can get to the most perfect man alive? And it really does suck, honestly.
I know.
I feel just as sad and depressed as all the other characters were going through the back half of the movie.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely give Diane Lane the thumbs up as well, the same way with Amy Adams and Henry Cavill. But now we're back for Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White.
Honestly, Perry improves from Man of Steel. He was great.
I would definitely say he has a lot more of the jokier scenes. I love Lawrence Fishburne playing this comic book character.
Yeah, Lawrence
Fishburne,
Fishburne, even though Perry White is a white guy, the fact that, again, the fact that Lawrence Fishburne was asked to do this and Lawrence Fishburne is black, this is great, honestly.
Vastly improved that way. Newsflash, bat in Gotham. Other newsflash, water. Wet. That's one of the greatest lines. Funny. It's one of the greatest lines.
And I also love the running gag that he keeps pushing for Clark to cover sports instead of Batman. I'm like, okay.
I'll definitely I probably should be reading off more of these facts from the character's fact sheet going forward. Be like, wait a minute. Nope, never mind. We did miss a character, but we'll go back after after Lawrence Fishburne is done. I definitely liked describing Perry's working relationship with Lois. Fishburne stated that she is his favorite person in the world. She's also his least favorite person in the world, aside from Clark Kent.
Wow,
that's actually really awesome. It's he loves Lois and Clark like his children, but he hates how they always never listen to him and always do the exact opposite of what they're supposed to be doing.
It's relatable.
Oh my goodness, yes. He further went on to saying, as his experience of filming the movie and playing the character, it was really just a couple of days in the beginning with Lois, Clark, and Perry, and the rest was just me with Lois, figuring out how to get her where she needed to go. But the relationships, I think, were really well established in previous movies. He said that even though he got a lot much more reduced screen time in this movie compared to Man of Steel, was because he felt that he did a bulk of his job in the previous movie, which is kind of true, because as much as I love Perry's hilarious scenes in this movie, the way he plays off Amy and Henry, his scenes are pretty much pointless.
Yeah, you could take those scenes, cut them out, and it would affect nothing on the plot whatsoever.
Nope, which really sucks because he's so funny.
Right.
I would never want to cut him out, but I know that in a professional editing environment, anybody else reasonably would say yes.
Yeah.
That's like the worst part of editing, in my opinion. Now that I'm becoming more and more apparent with the editing process of film and TV, sometimes the best bits have to go to make good art.
Yeah.
And it really does stink about that. Let me just go back to some of Diane Lane and Amy Adams' quotes on the movie. This is Diane Lane on Martha Kent. I always said if I had a son, that would be the ultimate test. Raise a good man. There's something noble about that. Who gets offered the opportunity to bring such things to the screen for millions of people? That's tremendous. It's an honor and a burden, and I can't imagine shouldering that load. I think that she's reminding him that she does have a choice. He doesn't have to be yoked to his destiny. He can actually feel the pleasure of making the choice, which... That was actually the one moment of Martha's character that I was a bit downplayed in, when she said that Superman does not owe this world anything.
What?
Which does feel a bit weird, because she's like coming off of that same mentality that Jonathan Kent had in Man of Steel.
I guess.
About how the world needs to earn Superman's love and admiration. Like, she's saying that being a hero is off like a point system or something.
Yeah.
What? It really isn't. You do good things if you have the ability to do so. You don't have to prove anything or do anything. Clark Kent is a good person because he had an amazing, healthy upbringing that he saw that if danger was afoot, he would rush to fix it. But of course, this movie just seems so much in hammering every so often about how Clark does not owe humanity anything. He doesn't have to be their savior if he doesn't want to. Well, clearly he does, but his parents keep making it seem like he doesn't have to.
Wow.
This movie's so confusing, honestly, sometimes. Now let me look at one or two Lois Lane ones with Amy Adams. I love that she's fearless. I'm not that way, so it's really fun that she really is not afraid of the consequences. What she said about her and Clark's relationship. What's great about this is that as far as the relationship with Lois and Clark goes, when we meet them, you can tell that they've been in a relationship for a year and a half. So it was great to get to develop that sort of intimacy and that sort of friendship that I've described with Henry before. So it really just show how comfortable they were around each other, about how they were a close-knit family. Even though they weren't making the best of art, they still enjoyed being around each other. Which I think was great. Now I was going to go on to Alfred next, but we forgot another big character in the film, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Oh, dear God.
Now, I am at the very, very small minority about this. I think Jesse Eisenberg did a great job as Lex Luthor. Technically, Lex Luthor Jr., it's his son.
What am I going to call him that?
I mean, I'm not.
Me neither.
But I still have to point it out because, the cinematic universe needs to be built on something, right? And what it is very few. He's usually depicted as bald in the comics, but he has long flowing red hair in this movie.
I mean,
until the end of the movie when he's shaven bald after Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman save the day. But of course, Lex Luthor is usually shown in the comics as, in of course modern day comics anyway, to be very cold, calculating, intelligent? Yes. Intelligent, cunning, ruthless. He is just the all-around definition of a corrupt U.S. businessman.
Yeah, Lex Luthor, let's be honest here, according to DC, he's considered the smartest man on Earth. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And this guy is a manipulative businessman. He'll pull strings to do anything, and he finds Superman to be, I don't know.
I know. Basically, the motivation for Lex Luthor in this movie ranges a little bit differently than how it is in the comics. In the comics, he's basically very much against the thought of an immigrant being more liked than an American-born citizen. He's the ultimate epitome of being ruthless, cunning, corrupt. The fact that you have to hoard as much power as possible, otherwise life is not worth meaning. You have to be on top and stay there in order to live a long and fulfilling life.
So basically, Luthor is another interpretation of a Darwinist.
Yeah, pretty much. And Superman is the ultimate antithesis to Luthor's way of thinking. The fact that somebody just does good out of the goodness of their heart is baffling to him. And he hates that Superman does barely anything. He doesn't build statues, he doesn't build buildings, but he does something more important. He protects the people, not the city that they live in. And I think that that's way more important with that. This Lex Luthor, though, I could write an entire thesis paper on this.
Yeah, this is like if Mark Zuckerberg went nuts.
Yeah, pretty much. This guy pontificates in a lot of rambling that you have to watch the film at least 3 or 4 times to know anything about what he's talking about. He's always babbling about how demons don't come up from down below in hell. They come from the stars. Yeah, so basically, I do like that very much. Like the fact about he's saying that Superman is bad because he caused all of those destructions in Metropolis. We have to protect ourselves from any further alien invasions. But the biggest one, though, and of course his main motivation, is how Superman was not there to save him when his father was abusing him years ago. So now he's going to show the world that he's not the great figure that everybody thinks he is. Even though not as many people as usual think of him as a great figure, he wants to ruin his reputation for everybody. And he does so in the most complicated means possible.
Yeah, kidnap Superman's mom, make him fight Batman, and create whatever you get when you mix his DNA with Zod. Are you sure you get Doomsday? Because you look like you get some kind of weird looking...
An ancient Kryptonian deformity, they say, when forming Doomsday at the end of the movie. This guy is really much... Even though he's one of the biggest villains of the 10 movies of the cinematic universe so far, he's the most convoluted and confusing of the bunch. But I don't know. I absolutely enjoyed his performance. I didn't take a single bit of it seriously, but I was going along for the ride as much as I possibly could.
I try to take it seriously, but I just cannot handle Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Sometimes it's just not. I've known Lex Luthor to be a cold and calculating business guy, and even in lighter incarnations like the Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon, he was still tough and tries to fight Superman in a cold, calculating, using his mind.
But this
Lex Luthor, he's trying to do the same thing, but he's trying to channel a bit of Joker, if you think about it.
Yeah, Joker, Riddler, a bunch of other villain interpretations in there for absolutely no reason. I will say this though, like once we get through all of the nutty bits with his obsessions with Jolly Ranchers and licking his finger and peeing in jars, all that stuff happens, by the way. If you have to pause your video to go maybe to the bathroom for 5 minutes, look in the mirror and think about your life, then come back, totally wouldn't dish you for any of it.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we have personally my favorite scene of his from the movie when he's on top of the rooftop. Lois goes after him, and of course Clark soon follows because he puts her in danger.
Yeah, that scene was honestly really good.
Basically putting him as the main bad guy. He's the guy who framed Clark for what happened at the start of the movie that got people to initially start heavily criticizing Superman in the first place, saying, of course, stuff like gods among men and all that stuff. You're gonna have to you'll watch the movie yourself.
Yeah, and the guy manipulated an African woman to testify against Superman. And all that.
Okay. So now that we've gotten past Lois and all the other characters, we could talk about what happened at the start of the movie. So basically, Lois goes to interview an African warlord, and of course she's joined by who else? Jimmy Olsen.
But
of course we can't talk about what happens in that scene yet. Just know that things go bad really fast, and the world blames Superman because it's set up that way, because of what the KG Beast does under Lex Luthor's orders, and of course Lex set it all up just to get Superman, and it's this is it's so convoluted. You have to applaud this man for keeping it going as long as he did. I'm thinking, bruh, like, never in my a million years have I thought that Lex Luthor would go to this lengths just to get rid of Superman.
I mean, I'm sure he's done something like that before.
I mean, like, I love his lines of dialogue right here. God is not all powerful. God takes sides, and like I love how he just tries to break it down for us as much as possible. And Clark is just standing there like, what am I doing?
Yeah, like
geez,
can you please
man.
shut up?
I mean, I just love to just like having the face that Clark makes on that rooftop as he's like babbling on about how God was not there to save me from my father's cruel hand. No. But you save all those poor little souls down there for doing next to nothing. I will show them the fraud, the charlatan that you actually are.
Yeah, if God is not all powerful, then God is not all man.
That's exactly what I'll be saying. If God is all powerful, then he cannot be all good. And I love like this showing that he will make the people see what he sees. And I have seen what he's seen, and I'm technically gone crazy because of it. And I love how he sets it all up for the final battle, saying that I have put in danger the thing you care most about in this world. She's safe on the ground. No, my dear man of steel flying through the sky. No. Everybody knows from all American walks of life that a boy's most caring person is his mother. It's like, I love this.
I'm like, oh,
that.
crap.
It's like, okay, so he knows he's Clark Kent. How? We don't know.
That's the bad part about this.
And I don't care. And like, the fact of the matter is, because everything is happening so fast and it's already so convoluted, if I stop to think, the movie will be over. So I just have to just absorb Lex Luthor's zany antics from afar and hope that it will all make sense later.
I guess.
But I just have to imagine like the amount of damage this guy did, and the fact of the matter is how, think about it. At the very end of the movie, he was declared insane so that he wouldn't be executed. So it shows he acted crazy because that was his plan all along. If Superman and Batman failed to kill each other and stop Doomsday, he would be locked in a padded cell, quote-unquote, forever, because he was declared insane. But of course, Batman still sends him to Arkham Asylum at the end of the movie. So in the end, Batman got the last laugh after all.
Yeah, because that's how he is. Bat branding aside, but whatever.
So basically, going all important, many people would say that Jesse Eisenberg's performance as Lex Luthor was very zany, over-the-top, wacky, and tonally deaf.
And stupid.
I give it the thumbs up.
I can't. I can't.
It's a thumbs up. He cannot stand it, but I can 100% stomach it.
I can stomach it, but barely.
Okay, so now let's go past this one and go. Let's talk about Jeremy Irons' Alfred Pennyworth.
Honestly, I like him as Alfred.
It's so strange because I've hardly ever found a version of Alfred Pennyworth that I don't like. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to like Alfred.
No,
hard to hate him.
Hard to hate Alfred. Yeah, because he's so witty and charming, helpful, embracing. He's everything the perfect quote-unquote father figure should be.
Right.
And in this movie, it still fits into his character because Bruce has been fighting crime as Batman for 20 years, and Alfred's kind of sick of it at this point. Because it really just feels like there's like the scale of Alfreds. There's like the young Bruce Wayne, where Alfred is constantly telling him not to be Batman.
And reluctant.
And then there's the middle Batman, which is the main Batman, where Alfred is helping him with every single thing because that's just how great of a person he is.
Right.
And now we're at this version of Alfred, where he's old, grimy, gritty, and he's like, yeah, whatever, I know the drill, blah 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 blah. And it's just like he knows all this. He's been through this stuff before, so he's not going to be sugarcoating it. And like it's like especially when he says like when you fighting the charging bull and stuff like that, with pontificating more dialogue. It's basically like a more reserved portion of like what Lex Luthor's dialogue is.
A little bit, yeah. And the conversation that Alfred and Bruce have about Superman's power is really fitting. It's like Bruce outright says, "Look, Alfred, how many years have we been fighting crime in Gotham to know how dead people are? If there is even a 1% chance that Superman is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty."
I love that
to end
scene.
him. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God! Even at a 1%, Batman wants to kill this guy. Jeez.
So basically, Alfred is doing every single thing in his power to keep Bruce from fighting Batman.
Yeah, and all like, you're gonna go to war, but he's not our enemy.
And that's what he keeps saying. Like, he knows that Superman is really good despite what everybody's saying, but Bruce is so determined to keep what happened in Metropolis from happening again. He is willing to openly kill someone who has done so much good.
And a bit paranoid.
Yeah, pretty much so. Like, I do see in that one moment when Bruce is telling him that if there's a 1% chance that someone is your enemy, you have to take it as an absolute certainty. You can just see that line is really bad for Bruce's character, but it's meant to be bad.
I guess,
Alfred in that moment realizes that the young man that he raised since he was 8 or 10 is gone, and basically replaced with a hard, cold, brooding, somewhat thug. Essentially, Bruce has become the thing he's always fought against in that one moment, and he can't see it yet. He can't see it until the scene we'll talk about at the very end of the fight later on. So God. I will say Jeremy Irons, very good with his wit and charm as Alfred.
Yep.
Especially in the few scenes he gets in this 3-hour long movie. He fits the role of Alfred perfectly.
Absolutely.
So I'll definitely give him the thumbs up.
Yep.
Now let's see who's next. After that, we have Holly Hunter as June Finch.
Basically, Elastigirl if she without the stretchiness.
Yeah, she's just like Elastigirl. She's strong, she's capable, she's firm in her convictions. Even though she's killed halfway through the movie, you know what I'm saying? She still has some of the best scenes in it because she's delivering these below-average lines with the conviction of an Oscar-worthy performance. And I do love every single scene. She's just like, "Aw, there you go, Miss Finch." Oh no!
I'm like, dang!
And then she's gone, and then we never speak of her again.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, I really would love it if they would bring up characters like Finch, who have died, played by really big actors, but have died in the past. Yeah. Saying that their deaths did matter in the end because the world is still safe. Hopefully in the future movies, we get, like, stuff like that. Her news segments with talking to the other various cameos of actual politicians and stuff were actually very good.
Yeah, and some of the cameos are really interesting. You got Charlie Rose, you got Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Nancy Drew.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
the actual Nancy Drew.
Yeah, oh no, what's her name? Like, I mean, I know, like, she's a TV personality. I used Nancy Grace, maybe.
Oh yeah,
was that her name?
I think that's it. Yeah, and I think also Rachel Maddow from MSNBC was part of it.
Yes, true that. Yep, that was Neil deGrasse Tyson, all right. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Let me take all this stuff right here. Yep. Okay. So now we just go up there. Holly Hunter did a very good job as playing the senator, hoping to just make the world right through diplomatic means.
Did you also say white?
No, I didn't. Let's keep going.
Okay. Right.
Basically, so I would definitely give her the thumbs up, even though she didn't have the best track record with everything. Even though she was not the best thing in the movie, she was still a good portion of it for at least the first half.
Absolutely.
That she was there.
Yeah.
Now let's go on to the next one, which is Scott McNair as Wallace Keefe, the guy in the wheelchair.
This guy is boy.
Now personally though, I originally when we saw this movie, I thought this guy was Wally West.
Me too.
I honestly thought because his like they called him Wally, he had a leg thing, and I'm thinking, okay, fine. It's like, oh, this is weird. So basically, I call him the living plot device. He's
pretty much.
He's only there to move the plot forward. He spray paints false god on Superman's statue, which I need to get a Funko Pop of that. Honestly.
Still charged as terrorism.
Yeah. So basically, he's tasked by Lex Luthor unceremoniously to blow up Congress, and that's basically it.
The only way that's possible is that it was lined with lead.
Yeah, So folks, if you guys are confused as to why Superman did not stop the bomb in the wheelchair, it was lined with lead, but it was only added in for this version of the movie. So if you guys saw it in theaters, you guys would have no idea.
Yep.
Oh my God. When people asked him about his stuff, he would say, "I don't know if I'd call it a necessary surprise. The character was kept as a secret until the film was released." He said he wouldn't necessarily call it that. I would say it's a character that lends itself to the story being told. Playing in the world with comic books that you've been reading since you were a kid, he said that it was absolutely awesome to be there. He said that he was really glad to be a part of the DC universe, even though if it was only for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though he was not the best character, and he did technically cause like a bunch of deaths indirectly, I will say that his performance was fine. So,
it was all right.
So I'll definitely give Wally's actor the middle thumb.
Yep.
Now let's see who be coming up next. We have so lightning round for right now. now before we go on to the surprise character at the end.
Oh, yeah.
We have a KG Beast.
Yeah.
To say, even though he did not have the cool costume like in the comics, I love the KGB's costume. I mean, look at that. Red, black, and blue.
Yeah,
perfect.
very, very 80s.
I know. I love the 80s style. Jim Sterling and Jim Aparo. Totally, guys. I really do love you guys for doing that. He usually assigns himself to the Suicide Squad and the Black Lanterns. Now, I gotta say, even though he was not the greatest thing in this movie, I do have to appreciate him as like a side villain.
Yeah, especially that one scene where he has that flamethrower and he's about to kill Martha. He's like, "I'll do it!" And Matt was like, "I believe you." I'm like, oh no.
It's basically starting to wonder, where the heck did this guy come from? This where
he just appeared.
Okay, so if you ask me, this guy has actually been in a lot of comic book movies before. If like mind you, he's like been in a bunch of other movies. He was in Zero Dark 30. Love that movie very much. He was in the Warcraft film adaptation, which was really bad, but I still have not seen it yet, so I honestly couldn't tell you. He did work with Zack Snyder before, though. Honestly, he was in the sequel to 300 from 2014.
Oh.
I'm trying to think, was he the main character? I'm looking through the cast. He was a minor character in the movie, so Zack did know him and suggested him the role afterwards. So okay, definitely props for that. He played a character called Jack Rowlands in the MCU in the Winter Soldier and Endgame. I'm trying to think of which person that was. He was in.
Oh, I think I remember. It was that one muscle guy that was like about as tall as Cap.
Oh, really? Was he part of Frank Grillo's crew in that? Oh, so yeah, so he was one of those guys. Oh yeah, in the flashback scenes. Remember from like those scenes in the elevator? Yeah. That's cool. Like I honestly thought so. Okay, so like he's like one of those actors who's been in both cinematic universes. Very nice. So I thought that he was a great minor villain up until the very end, and especially the scene when he's blown up at the end. Oh, very nice. And now let's go to the last of the relevant characters before the big surprise. Mercy Graves, played by Tao Okamoto. I could be very wrong about that. The Japanese names are very difficult for me. Ask anybody.
So they got a Japanese woman to play Mercy?
Yes. Okay. I love that. Let me tell you, that's interesting. Because Mercy is usually played by basic white women. And I gotta say, can we please shake it up at least a little bit here?
This works.
Something cool to look at.
Mercy is an interesting character because there are some incarnations where she's a normal woman, other times she's a robot.
Now, you guys may not really know about this, but I certainly do. She was Logan's main female love interest in The Wolverine from 2013.
She was that girl?
What was her name again? Let me just look this up. She was Mariko, the old guy's granddaughter.
Really? That girl?
Which is nuts, right?
Wow, that is nuts.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I didn't know about that till very, very recently. She was also in 5 episodes of Westworld, so
really?
she definitely got good things going on there. So let me just take a look at these facts really quick for Mercy Graves going into Dawn of Justice. Her role, the actress said that it was so fascinating. I didn't have a big speaking role. I don't even think she had any lines personally at all. I used to act as sassy girls all the time as a model, so it wasn't so challenging for me. So you know how she said that looking at her profile, she's had a lot of talking roles. She's mostly had those big flashy things. This, she just stood in the background. She said it was one of the easiest jobs she ever had. And I think basically just stand there and look good. That's her entire role in the movie.
Yeah, I mean she was a model, so
true.
Which is okay.
Basically, when casting her, Zack Snyder said that she is a striking presence whose beauty is amputable, rivaled by her amazing abilities as an actress. I'm really excited to have her joining us on this movie. So Mercy did basically next to nothing in the movie and then was killed in the Capitol explosion.
Yeah, pretty much.
So honestly, they took a big, well-known character and just threw her out the window. But hey, they said that she was as good an actor as she was beautiful. So maybe it was all worth it in the end anyway. So basically, I definitely give her the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Even though it was kind of in the middle on that.
Kind of wish she stuck around?
Yeah, I do.
Me too.
For kind of like for like KG Beast. For what it was, she did fine.
Yeah,
but I do wish that she was around a bit longer. Now we have the big final main role before we do the lightning round of the cameos. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
Yes. Yes.
Every single scene Gal Gadot is in this movie is absolutely phenomenal.
And the thing, before joining the DCEU, she was a female character on the Fast and Furious movies, like the earlier ones, like Fast 5.
Exactly right. She was like starting out there. I know that I saw her in a few other movies before this happened, but it's like every single time I saw her, I saw the living embodiment of a Greek goddess. So stepping onto the stage and just going toe-to-toe with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill.
Yeah, because her Wonder Woman costume is honestly really amazing. Because it reflects it's reflected from the modern comic books where instead of the weird swimsuit or the leather pants of the 90s, she's basically got the armor with a battle skirt, and it looks great.
Is it like bad that Diana is like the only superheroine that wearing a bathing suit is a bad idea?
Really?
Because Diana is very bulky.
That is true. She's a tough woman.
Bulky women in bathing suits is fine, but it's like I like more of a petite figure. You know what I'm saying?
That's understandable.
And you know what? I love her wearing the pants of the 90s. Yeah. Wonder Woman having those full suits right there, it just shows that she's not pulling any punches. She's not trying to impress anybody.
Yeah,
she's
it was the 40s. It was a different time.
Yeah, but of course then we have these kinds of modern depictions which have her wearing the Greek goddess-like attire with the long flowing hair and the the tassels of Greek uniforms.
Yeah,
showing all that stuff to great effect with swords, shields, incredible force, clanking her wrist bracelets together.
That was awesome. Yeah, basically, she's seen earlier in the movie, but we don't really know that yet until she comes out full costume with electric violins playing.
I know. That scene is one of the greatest comic book moments of all time.
Yeah, it's like Batman's about to get blasted by Doomsday and then he gets blocked. I'm like, wait, did Superman recover? Did Superman recover? And then we see his Wonder Woman, yes! Yeah, we were in a full theater opening night and everyone was screaming. Yes!
Oh, it was
and she jumped into battle. I'm like, yes, that is a live-action Wonder Woman right there, and I love it!
And just seeing it right there, it's especially, because mind you, because the movie soundtrack is really good, but there aren't any big musical moments until the final fight with Doomsday between the Trinity. And I have to say, I'm really glad that they saved it for that moment, because it really made all the waiting so much
Plus, it also gave us that shot of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all in one thing together on the same screen. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I wish I could have taken a picture of that moment.
I mean, it's no 360 panning shot like the Avengers, but this is still really good.
No, but you know what? It'll do for right now. Mm-hmm. It'll do for right now, my friends. So I have to let's see what I can find with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Going all the way back, the immortal Amazon princess. She was described as having many strengths and powers, but at the end of the day, she's a woman with a lot of emotional intelligence. It's all her heart. That's her strength. I think women are amazing for being able to show what they feel. I admire women who do. Very well said. Very well said, Miss Gadot, honestly. She underwent a massive diet and training regimen, practiced different martial arts, and gained 17 pounds of muscle for this role.
Whoa.
Because as we mentioned in the Man of Steel review, she was originally going to play the female minor villain alongside General Zod, but she couldn't due to her at the time pregnancy. Now that she had given birth and fully raised her kid for several years, she was finally ready to join the DC Cinematic Universe. And let me tell you, that kid is going to be known as the kid that brought Wonder Woman to the big screen. So I will forever thank him if I ever do. So I have to say. I was going to save this point for the Wonder Woman movie review that we would eventually be doing on the podcast. But before we go into the lightning round of cameos and then back to the story and the awards, I have to say this. For any of you guys who admire Wonder Woman very much, admire Gal Gadot's tenacity, fearlessness, and eternal well of compassion, for coming from a world that was torn apart and ravaged by war, for her to be able to see what the good her presence could do if she only made the first step forward. Her being in this movie inspired so many young girls to be who the strong, capable fighters against the darkness of the life that we live, and I couldn't thank her anymore for that. Now, we used to know this one guy guy years ago, and he had these very much radically negative opinions about pretty much everything. I hated his very existence. I hope that one day he dies in the most brutal possible way. Pardon my French, my friends. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, whenever we would get into the talks about something that we would love very much, about comic books and movies and whatnot, when like Wonder Woman, it was very much recently. We went to community college with this guy. I still say he followed us there just to make our lives worse. But every time the conversation would turn to female superheroines, he would always throw the worst possible shade at Miss Gadot. I know that she doesn't need us to defend her. She's very much capable of doing that herself.
Of course.
But when somebody says that a person is not worthy of being in a role, not taking on a mantle, simply because of where they were born into, he would always rant on about how Gal Gadot is one of the worst actresses in America. She is not worthy of being Wonder Woman. She was born outside of the U.S. She is a Middle Eastern person. She's not a true American. It's like,
who cares?
Who the cares, motherfucker? I swear to God, I was about ready. If the tables and the chairs weren't cemented to the floor, I would have beaten him with a chair years ago.
Me too.
I'll tell you that much, because every single time this guy would open his mouth, I knew that it was only 1 second before some guy threw him through the window.
Probably would have been me.
Because statements like that, they don't help anything. Saying that you hate something does not fix a problem. It only makes the rest of us so much more annoyed and irritated as a result. Same as with giving overly negative or overly positive reviews. Don't just say the movie is great because you enjoy it, or this character sucks, or this person sucks because you hate them. Give us a legit reason. Show why what they are doing is great or bad, the way we are trying to do with this podcast. We are not professional broadcasters. We are doing the best we possibly can, and we can only pray that you guys enjoy what we do here. But people like him, who spout out negativity because it makes themselves feel better. I am just glad that Gal Gadot will go down in history as one of the greatest actresses of the 20th century, and the only thing that guy will ever be remembered for as being one step closer to being shot in the street.
Yeah.
So, now that I'm done with all of that, cameo time.
Well spoken, my friend.
Now let us go back to who we saw. We saw all of the amazing politicians in the back half of everything going on. Senator Debbie Stadabo, the governor, makes a cameo as the governor of New Jersey. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Soledad O'Brien, Nancy Grace, I was right. Charlie Rose appear as themselves. Anderson Cooper.
Hey, it was not that bad.
I'm not the biggest fan of Anderson Cooper, honestly.
He's okay.
But then, of course, we got returning people from Man of Steel. We got Pete Ross and Lana Lang, even though I can never find them because they have no lines.
Yeah.
Like, how can I enjoy these characters being here if they don't do anything? Oh, my goodness. But then, of course, we have the other cameos, such as the people from Diana's Photo from the Wonder Woman movie that would come 1 year after this. Most notably, Chris Pine as Steve Trevor.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, I will gush about how amazing he is.
We'll save that for the Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, but of course we got to go to the other important cameos there. We have, even though Michael Shannon did not film any of the scenes with Zod's body, they simply put his face over a model of it. So basically it's like, okay, yeah, it's fine. It kind of looks basically the same. I get it. Yep, Patrick Wilson is the president of the United States, which is a weird foreshadowing because that technically means that Patrick Wilson plays two separate characters in the DC cinematic universe. That's right, yeah. Which is so strange when you think about it. Calvin Swanwick is back as Henry Langs from Man of Steel, but this time instead of just being a general or whatever, he's now the Secretary of Defense, which is cool. He's like moving up in the world, even though he only has like 2 scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
it's good to show. Okay, this dude is here. They brought him back for some reason. Hopefully we'll be able to tell like what his deal is eventually.
Yep.
So yeah, Jimmy Olsen is there at the start of the movie. He's Lois's photographer when she goes to to interview the African warlord. He's killed after 5 minutes.
Ugh.
So yeah, just like with Mercy dying in this this movie, just like KG Beast dying, Jimmy Olsen, a long-running, beloved, iconic Superman supporting character, is killed simply because Zack Snyder thought it would be fun. And because, mind you, in an interview, he said that characters like Jimmy Olsen would not be needed for the DC cinematic universe, which is very close-minded. Saying is how Marvel, no matter how stupid they characters are, always find a way to shove people into the Marvel cinematic universe.
And they even bring out more of the obscure comic book characters, like Shang-Chi. Exactly. He's a C-list Marvel hero, and yet now he recently got his own movie, and it's an amazing movie,
and it's a big, massive hit. But Zack Snyder felt that certain characters do not deserve to be in the story, so they killed them.
I mean, hell, Jimmy Olsen had his own comic series, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen.
It's so stupid.
He's nixed here. What the heck?
It just basically shows that even though I love and respect Zack Snyder for a number of reasons, I disagree with him on certain points.
Yep.
One being that even though he loves and respects superhero movies and comic books and all that, he doesn't respect everything about the comics and these stories that he's trying to tell.
In my opinion, the only comic book story I know that he can really have much respect for is Watchmen. Because he worked on the adaptation of Watchmen, and it was, given the right cuts, it was 1-to-1 the comic.
I know, one day, hopefully I'll be able to watch the Watchmen movie and give my official critique of it, but the way that I've seen it, the way he talks up the death of Superman and the Dark Knight Returns as inspirations for this movie, it shows that he's only really into the violent superhero stories. Yep. He's not here to tell inspiring tales and warm-hearted feelings. He's here to make stories where superheroes punch each other and the story always comes second. And of course, even more beloved characters like Jimmy Olsen and Mercy Graves, they will always be nixed off in order to try and make his version of DC work. That's why Batman is the way he is. That's why Superman is the way he is.
Makes sense.
That's why Wonder Woman is the way she is. I mean, I'm not going to say that Jimmy's character was all that great. He wasn't a young lad with a photographer saying, "Oh boy, oh golly gee, Superman." This
guy was more like he was actually an FBI agent.
He was a full-grown FBI agent who gets killed after 5 minutes. So if you guys wanted to see Lois and Jimmy team up, which would have honestly made this movie a tiny bit better, we do not see that at all.
Yeah, sorry.
But of course, we now have some of the best cameos coming right here, my friends. We have Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan as Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Yep, because they've done lots of things. Like, Lauren Cohan played Maggie on The Walking Dead, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was the comedian in the Watchmen movie.
Exactly.
And, wait, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was also on The Walking Dead, right?
Yep, he was the main villain for several seasons.
That's what I thought.
Basically, they worked together on several projects, and even though they got basically next to no screen time, only maybe 2 or 3 minutes, they did look like an actually married couple. They had the attire, the look, everything was there.
They've worked a lot. They know each other very well, so
even though their only purpose in the movie is to fuel Bruce's edgelordness.
Yeah, and that whole thing, it's a very abridged version of Batman's origin story, which to the movie's credit, I can appreciate, because at that time, the Nolan films were still fresh in our minds, so we knew Batman's origin story. We didn't need to spend 15 minutes on it.
I know, but I kind of wish they did, though, because the fact of the matter is, we do know we do know Tim Burton's Batman. We do know Christopher Nolan's Batman, and we technically knew Joel Schumacher's Batman
because it was supposed to be a continuation of the Burton Batman.
We technically knew it, but we did not know Zack Snyder's Batman. No, and all that flashback told us is he's basically the same. There's nothing different.
Yeah, because here's what I think. I feel like the second film of the DCEU, this film should have been the third one, because the second film of the DCEU should have been solely a Batman movie.
Yeah,
and then we would have gotten to Batman v Superman, and it probably would have fixed a lot of problems.
It definitely would have, because we would have spent the time with this version of Batman, got to know his side of the story, instead of just getting the abridged version of his side of the story.
Yeah.
But still, what you're going to do, the past is the past.
Yep.
And now the 3 last ones that I was saving for the very end of the cameo section is the appearances that would foreshadow events later on in Phase 1 of the DC Cinematic Universe, the 4 other metahumans that Lex Luthor discovers besides Diana. Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, and Ezra Miller as Arthur Curry, Victor Stone, and Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Aquaman, Cyborg, and The Flash.
Yeah, like we said, this rushes to catch up to Marvel. It takes the second movie to establish the Justice League.
Yep, basically, we see all these these different recorded segments of them discovering things. We see Jason Momoa underground with a trident as Aquaman, the King of Atlantis, quote unquote. We'll get to that in a later movie.
Yeah.
We see Ezra Miller as the Flash, zipping around and stopping robberies.
Even though he looks like a teenager.
Yeah, he really does though. It really shows that these movies were filmed years apart because in this movie Barry Allen has facial hair, and we never see him have facial hair in the main timeline ever again. But of course I thought that was fine.
And then we get Cyborg's whole thing,
which is wow. And it's good to point out that his father, Silas Stone, is played by Joe Morton.
Yeah, that guy was from Terminator 2. He didn't even like the T-1000 or something.
He did.
This guy just gotta stay away from robots.
I mean, this guy, Joe Morton, is a fantastic actor.
Right, exactly.
I will simply say, I've seen so many dang movies with this guy in it. It is not even funny. Let me just try to do a quick count. The first one I saw was Terminator 2, obviously.
Yeah, and just to save this for all time, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is honestly the best Terminator movie, right?
I would say it's on point with the first one, but we'll get to those at a later date. He was in the film version of Mice and Men. He was in Speed 2.
Oh no!
He was only cameoing. He didn't get paid for it.
Thank God, but still,
he honestly should have gotten paid for it though. He was in Blues Brothers 2, which is a really bad sequel. I did not recommend that. He was in the Muhammad Ali biopic, which is
that's not bad.
Very nice, very good right there. Did I see American Gangster? No, I didn't. Then he was out of film for so long before finally coming back in this movie.
Wow.
So basically, this film was his return to filmmaking after several years. Oh my goodness! But of course, he was mostly a glorified cameo in those. Honestly,
yeah. This movie spends 5 to 10 minutes showing the Justice League, and I'm like,
it shows, hey, stick around. We'll see more of these guys eventually.
Yeah, if you're a DC fan, it's pretty obvious. But if you're just a new guy exposed to this and never read a DC comic in your life or watched one of the cartoons, you'll be looking at yourself like, what is this crap?
Well, I mean, I can definitely appreciate that back then because, back in 2016, I really didn't know anything other than Cyborg was in the Teen Titans, The Flash was a kind of cool, not really that great superhero, and Aquaman, I booed. Honestly, I booed as soon as I saw Aquaman on the big screen from what I remember.
Yeah, I'm like, Aquaman, cool, and then I hear his boo, I'm like, what the heck, man?
Dude, I hate Aquaman, why is he here? He's making this even less cool than it was before. But now,
but of course, I told him, Aquaman's cooler than you think, man.
And then it took me 5 years to understand Jason Momoa. Thank you.
Yep.
But then, of course, we'll get to all the greatness, many movies down the line. So basically, what we're saying is the cast is stellar, even if the final project was not.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the film accolades here before we.
I'm surprised it was nominated for any.
Yeah, it was actually nominated for a great many number of things. If I'm able to find it. Yeah, the list just goes on and on and on and on. So many dang nominations.
Although I did hear this when the movie first came out. I heard it was nominated for a couple Razzies.
Yes, it was. It was. How many titles was this connected with the Razzies of 2016? 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 Razzies either nominated or won by this movie.
Wow.
Affleck and Cavill were both nominated for Worst Actor. Was Gal Gadot attached to? Nope. Gal Gadot received no Razzies for this movie.
Thank God!
She received no Razz for this. Jesse Eisenberg won a Worst Actor Razzie for this.
Wow.
David S. Goyer and Chris Terrio won a Worst Screenplay Razzie.
I mean, it wasn't that horrible.
That's bad. Zack Snyder was nominated for Worst Director. The producers, including his wife, were nominated for Worst Picture.
Oh my God.
It was so Batman. The whole movie did win the award for Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel.
Wow.
So that's which is crazy, honestly. And you know what? They actually won a joint Razzie. Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill won a Worst Screen Combo Duo award.
Oh my God.
That sucks. You guys have to share an award now. Your name is both on that. Oh, that is hilarious. But now on to the other side of things. Gal Gadot was nominated for a Best Actress in Action Movie Critics' Choice Award, which is very cool right there. Amy Adams, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill got so many nominations at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award.
Of course.
The People's Choice Award.
I'm surprised kids were allowed to see that movie.
No, well, mind you, they were all nominations. They didn't.
Yeah, true. They didn't win anything. So
no. However, they did win a couple equitable things. This film was nominated for many teen Teen Choice Awards, like with Gal Gadot, Amy Adams, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Jesse Eisenberg. They were all nominated, but they didn't win anything.
Of course.
The film was nominated for a favorite action movie of 2016 award at the People's Choice Awards. It was nominated for a best comic to film motion picture at the Saturn Awards.
What?
It was Zack Snyder was nominated for a best international film at the Juniper Awards. I'm guessing it did a really good overseas.
I'm guessing.
And Warner Brothers in general won the Golden Trailer Award for most original poster. So that's.
The poster was pretty cool.
That sounds like a participation trophy, though.
Participation.
Like literally, this movie's only good honorable win was for the artwork.
Zack Snyder's style is like it's style over substance when you think about it. But he does a lot. Like when Zack Snyder does visual work, it really pops.
Yeah. Okay, so before we do the rundown of the plot again, before we go to the final thoughts, if the first film of the DC Cinematic Universe, Man of Steel, was all about showing Superman as a Christ-like figure, this movie was all about showcasing how the Black Zero event, aka the DC version of the attack on New York, is supposed to be a 9/11 parallel. Basically,
was it though?
Which it like shows, okay, everybody's depressed in this movie because their version of 9/11 happened. It's just like, but then again, it's just so weird. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make 9/11 2.0. It's like, ooh, Zack, maybe that's not the best idea.
Yeah, and it was like, what, 15 years after 9/11?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
What a hell of a way to do that. It says here that he was trying to parallel the thoughts and feelings of the American public after the 9/11 terrorist attack.
I guess it kind of worked.
Because, like, buildings crumbled and people
died.
Yeah.
A lot of dust was kicked up.
Yeah, but like then again, it doesn't really make for rewatchable storytelling.
Yeah.
I don't rewatch this movie because it's good. I rewatch it because I either have to or I laugh at how ridiculous it is.
Or you drag me into it and make fun of me for not looking Lex Luthor.
No, it's just I love like watching you grimace over him, and it's fun when I laugh at him because he's funny. Oh my goodness! Now let's go back through the plot again. So the flashback with Bruce and his parents was pretty good cinematically with the text on the side.
Although the bat stuff, what?
Yeah, he
gets lifted up by the bats. I'm like, seriously?
In the dream, they took me into the light.
Like, that's BS right there. Like, what?
I'm basically seeing as how the image of a bat made him the person he was always supposed to be.
Well,
because he's technically dreaming.
That is accurate to the comic, but not in that circumstance.
Yeah, we jump to the scene at the fight with Bruce going to Metropolis and running through the devastation.
Which is honestly a positive I can give this movie.
Yeah.
We get to see Bruce's point of view because he was there in Metropolis, and it's like, I'm really on the ground seeing everything. I'm like,
exactly.
Yes.
And that's something that you hardly ever see from stories like this. We hardly ever see the civilian point of view, but in that moment, Bruce Wayne was on the ground with everybody trying to help out.
And it paid off-ish.
Yep. We then see, Clark trying to be an enemy of Batman at the Daily Planet. We see Batman going underground as Bruce Wayne, trying to get information and supplies.
Yeah. Brand people?
Yeah,
that's
brands
so weird.
people for some odd, unexplicable reason. I will be saying this though, but I will say the scene when he's like hiding in the corner, it's like, oh god.
It's
that's actually
there's being hero and then there's being Batman.
Yeah, I did like the design of LexCorp though. It really does feel like how a modern place like Apple Incorporated would,
or Google.
Or Google. Yeah,
I heard Google's actually got a basketball court.
Well, see, it's basically what they were trying to say. It's like big business is evil. That's basically what they're saying.
I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
thank you.
Yeah, speaking of look at villains, like I really like this, like the version of the Batcave. I really like it. I really like it because like it's like a more modern version of it, and I love it.
Yeah, I'll definitely go into a very quick point about this that I did learn from some of my other friends right here. Bruce is living on a tiny house on the water and mostly above the Batcave because Wayne Manor was burned down years ago when Dick Grayson was killed, because like I'm pretty sure like we already know that Dick Grayson was killed by the Joker. It's basically said that when they spray painted his thing right there, which of course said that I'm pretty sure they were very vague about how it happened. They're basically saying is how Robin, Batman told Robin to go take out the Joker single-handedly. He failed and it got Dick killed, and he's always been upset about it. The Joker set fire to Wayne Manor, and Bruce has been living off-site ever since. I mean, it's kind of of interesting, I suppose.
I guess so.
Then of course we have Zod, tricking Senator Finch's people to giving him access to the Kryptonian ship, as well as
Lex.
It's like
you snarky. I don't know.
Yep. Then of course Bruce goes to the gala to try and get the information from Lex's computers. Has the conversation with Superman, and then of course Lex Luthor gives a very cringy speech, which is honestly one of the few times
I cannot stomach that speech.
It's actually one of the few points in the movie I do actually hate what he's doing. It's like, dude, it's not working. Please stop and go back to Henry Cavill's beautiful face.
Yeah, and but the scene with Bruce and Clark talking. It's okay.
Oh my goodness. And then of course we have him coming over. Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together.
Which I can forgive Lex for that because I love doing that.
It'd be like he tries
but at least I'm not nuts.
And then he does it. Oh wow, he has a very strong grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's actually telling what's happening in the movie.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we get it. No duh.
And then of course Bruce goes away to steal the information. It's like, taking forever. But then Lex's people start trying to find him. Is like, the party's upstairs, Mr. Wayne. Oh, I thought the bathroom was back here.
What? I'm like, what?
I just love it because in that moment, I can always appreciate when actors playing Bruce Wayne and or Batman can slip in between the two different personalities with ease. And in that scene, he did. He played the clueless billionaire and then slipped back into Batman. I can't stay down here, Alfred. And then it's like, I love that so much. But then, of course, we see that Wonder Woman stole the drive and got away.
Yeah. But me being a dummy, I actually thought that was Catwoman who stole it. Oh, man.
You know what? I was somewhat thinking that myself.
And then when I heard it was old stuff, I'm like, wait, Catwoman steals old stuff. And then I saw the photo, I'm like, I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're very wrong. And then, of course, we see Superman go save the Mexican people from the burning building.
Yeah, and there's during Dia de los Muertos
They, touch him, and it's like, oh, stop touching me.
Yeah, yeah, we get that he's good looking, but
I mean, yeah, but then, of course, it's so weird because in every one of the emotional scenes that Henry Cavill is in this movie, have you noticed he never smiles?
No, it's weird.
He never smiles.
He's Superman. He's supposed to smile, yet this happens, and I'm like, what?
He's always dang depressed.
Like,
always.
What?
And then of course we see about how Wonder Woman steals the drive. She gives it back after they have a really nice dancing scene in a art gallery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Batman gets into the device and sees that she's Wonder Woman, telling her that he'll get her painting back or whatever. He then goes to tells Alfred about his plan to steal the kryptonite because of some stupid ship or whatever, I don't care. And then basically has that really good speech about him. Did I talk about the nightmare stuff yet? No,
not yet. We'll get there.
Not yet. Okay, so
but before that, there's the Kryptonite Batmobile chase, which is also an awesome scene.
Yeah, but basically, we have the awesome chase through the city with blowing stuff up. But how could we forget almost ending the review without telling about the scene after the car chase scene with Superman stopping the Batmobile without even moving, and then telling him,
yeah, it's like a pole. Like Superman is one of those poles. Like he's standing there. Batman sees him, and then the Batmobile just bounces off Superman and crashes into the side. I'm like, I know Superman's durable, but my God.
I know, he's like, consider this mercy. Answer me this. Do you bleed? It's like, my God.
I mean, that was cringe, but before that, what Superman says, like, next time they shine your signal in the sky, don't go to it. I'm like, Jesus, man.
God, I mean, it's like, Henry, I love you, but give me something, please.
I mean, it was something weird.
And then, of course, very, very soon in this portion of the movie, we get the nightmare scene, which, thankfully now with the developments made in the DC Cinematic Universe with the release of the specific movie cuts, we do have payoff to this somewhat, so I am not as mad at the scene anymore.
Yeah, but still, the scene is weird.
It's weird. It's pointless, mostly.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like a giant desert. Most of the city is like gone to hell.
Gone to ruin. Darkseid's Omega symbol is engraved.
I'm like, yeah, Darkseid, woohoo!
And then we never see him.
Yeah, and then we see the parademons come down. I'm like, parademons, yes!
I do like the scene when Batman tries to fight his way out. You want him to. You think he's going to, and then he loses.
Yeah, and then he's confronted by Superman with soldiers that bear his symbol, very similar to Injustice.
Yeah, basically. Oh yeah, that was another interpretation. Zack Snyder loved the Injustice video game and thought, I can do that with this movie if I make it into a future film that's never going to happen. Yeah. And then, of course, the single line of dialogue when he rips the mask off. She was my world, and you took her away from me.
Yeah, when I heard that, it's like, I heard the she's like,
Oh,
Lois?
Bruce, what did you do? And it's like Superman kills him, wakes him up. That was Barry Allen in the time tunnel.
Yeah, that scene was just weird.
So basically, now that we're in this part of the movie, we can definitely say, so in the alternate future, Barry Allen goes back in time to try and warn Bruce that Lois is the key to keeping Superman on their side for the future conflict that's coming, but he's come too soon to warn him, and it's given the wrong message.
And I think it proved that Bruce is just as confused as us. Like,
yeah,
what are you talking about, man?
Jeez, like that face on him just says everything about it. So basically now we have the big drawn-out congressional hearing. We have the pea jar scene. The Congress blows up, and Superman still like frowns, which he should because
and
all
then
those
a little
people
tear
died.
goes down. I'm like, well,
one tear.
I mean,
that's it, bruh. Look horrified. Look how you did when you killed Zod. That's what I wanted to see.
I mean, maybe not the scream, but still. Yeah.
No, but mind you, that was improvised by Henry Cavill at the end. That whole scream he was not supposed to do that. He did that on instinct.
Wow.
And it's like, because he was not supposed to. Why can't you just do more screams like that?
Yeah.
It really works. Oh my goodness. But then, of course, afterwards, Batman is fully prepared to take on Superman.
But basically Batman goes through his own Rocky montage training and building himself up to fight Superman.
He does CrossFit. And he's like, I mean, Jesus.
No, it's a mix between CrossFit and insanity. Because I've seen both workouts. Like, he's doing pull-ups, he's like with weights around his ankles, he's banging on a giant tire, he's like lifting weights, and he's even testing out the kryptonite gadgets.
Exactly.
I'm like, that is a Batman that is prepared.
What's even more insane is how thick he is, though. Did you see that one booty shot?
Ben Affleck is ripped for this movie.
I know.
Like, how old is he? Like mid-40s, almost 50?
Let me do a double check, try not to lose my place in the thing. Okay, so he turned 49 this year.
Okay, so he was like in his mid-40s, and he looked ripped. I'm like,
very much ripped indeed. So basically, he does the big working out montage. Clark feels super bad about all the stuff that happened.
Hallucinates his dead father.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about that because technically Jonathan Kent is in one scene in this movie. And do you still hate him? You still hate him?
Well, I mean, the stuff he says kind of alleviates the hate I have for him, but still.
It's still bad.
Yeah.
I love Kevin Costner. He gave his all, but Jonathan Kent in these movies is just a bad character.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
We have to just let it happen every once in a while. So, but of course, he does give a very good story. It is very sad to see that Clark still misses his father, even though he wasn't the best person in the world. He does try to show him that yes, with great tragedy comes the one thing in your life that will define it all, because it's said that in the hallucination that he has in the self-imposed exile, it shows that you never wanted to be our savior, but you're really good at it.
Because that makes sense.
So please stop beating yourself up and just do something. And of course that's what happens when the signal shines in the sky and the big cinematic fight begins. It's a really good fight.
Yeah, the fight between Batman and Superman is really good because like Batman shows off his gadgets and Superman shows off his strength, and Batman tries to level the playing field. Like, he first starts, but there's one that very memeable part of this fight scene. Not that scene, but it's something in the beginning of the fight. Like, they start the fight, and Batman activates these sonic devices, and then it cuts to this shot of Batman, and he just gives off this smirk. It's like, come on. And I'm like, oh my god, really, Batman?
Lord.
That's not how you do it.
Here we go. But
after that, the fight itself is nuts.
It really do be nuts, though. We got practical effects, we got CGI effects, and we got some nice little foreshadowing and like little Easter eggs in the background. Like, is it like Riddler's question marks?
Yeah, right. And Joker is spelled out on pillars.
So it shows that this building has a lot of history with Batman. It shows where his crime-fighting career began and where it's taken him thus far.
Yeah, and like Batman just whoops Superman. Like, he uses kryptonite to slow him down. Superman does eventually power up and get durable again, but Batman is able to take him down, grapple him, and like toss him around like a rag doll, and pull him in. And I'm like, yes,
Batman wins.
Yeah,
and even though This movie does have the wince-inducing dialogue. I know that this dialogue is not good, but that does not stop me from loving each.
That's
and
true.
every second of it.
Like before Batman pulls out the spear, he tells Superman like differences between him and me. He's like, my parents taught me like how to work for something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah, that's how you say it. Batman's like, but the scene he says like, you weren't a god, you're not even a man, and I'm like, oh my god, he wouldn't kill him. And then this happens.
The Save Martha scene happens.
God.
It's bad.
Now, to be fair though, 5 years ago, I cringed, but looking back, it's still cringe, but I kind of understand the reasoning behind it.
It's like he's bleeding and dying, he's very weak, he probably can't get too many sentences out, so he gets the two most important words out, and then Bruce just freaks out, starts yelling at us, like, why did you say the name?
At least they didn't go the stupid route saying that they're related.
I mean, it's his mother's name, This scene was even parodied across multiple fandoms, like, believe you me, because I am a fan of the My Little Pony franchise, and in the canon comics to the more recent incarnation of the toy line, the television series, in the canon comics, there's a Zack Snyder pony telling the plot of this movie to another pony, and he says, now see, their mothers have the same names. And it's like...
I bet the pony's like, what?
He was confused as heck and then just walked away.
I bet.
I love that.
But Batman realizing that even though, Superman has a mother and proves that he's human and basically Batman does not want to see Superman go through what he went through when he was a kid.
Exactly. He's seeing how far he's fallen from grace, from being the Bat of Gotham to being just as low as the scum.
Yeah,
that
he
took
basically
his
became
away.
what he always fought against, and that always hurts Batman. Not just here, but in any incarnation that's possible.
And that's exactly why we have the fight scene in the warehouse. He comes back. The
and
original
we prove
Batman.
Yeah, we prove that's a Batman I could get behind.
Exactly.
I mean, crate throwing, crushing a guy's head, stabbing someone aside, but whatever.
He saves Martha Wayne from the KG Beast.
Kent, that would be a paradox.
No, that's weird. Okay, saving Martha Kent from the KG Beast. She's all fine and good. Superman goes to stop Lex at the scout ship with the backup plan. Zod transformed into the mutant Doomsday creature. There's a massive fight in the air and the sea and the sky and the land, and it's all over the place.
Also, with the last half of this movie and all the destruction, I feel like I'm watching an early Dragon Ball Z censorship dub where it's like there was one guy saying, well, thank God it's a Sunday, most of those buildings are empty. I'm like, all the damage that's done in this movie is like, wow.
I love that. I love scenes like that so much. I mean, it shows though that they did say that the dock that they were fighting Doomsday on was abandoned. That's why they brought it.
Because of all the backlash of Man of Steel because of so many buildings getting destroyed.
And of course, we got even more great lines. I brought him to the port. That there's a weapon here that can kill it. And I love that. I love wartime Batman. It's so
it works.
Cool.
And yet, even though he has no powers, he's really trying to not, get killed.
He still stands there among two godlike figures holding a kryptonite grenade launcher. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not DC at all.
No, this is almost like fan fiction.
Yeah, I know, but it's built up so well. I can't hate it. And then, but what I can hate though, as we get through to the final fight, is Lois throwing the spear into the water for no reason.
Yeah, just what?
I know why she throws it in there. She throws it in there so Superman can save her later, because that's literally what she is. She's there to be a strong women stand-in character, only to be saved by a man at the end. That's really all Lois Lane ever is. But of course, mind you, I joke about that stuff. I joke about when they do things like that to these characters. Then of course, Wonder Woman, Batman fight their hardest. Superman do too. But he knows that there's only one way to truly stop him, and to truly be the person that he was always meant to be. He says that he loves her before flying the spear at Doomsday and almost killing him. It's getting there, and then Doomsday kills him.
Yeah, so why did Superman use the spear? Why can't Wonder Woman use it?
Well, that's
the weird part.
Well, mind you, I'm guessing it's his redemption. He has to redeem himself in the public's eyes. If he dies for the people's sins, then he's a good person again. Remember?
I guess.
Oh my gosh. So then it's actually very tragic. Seeing as how Clark Kent is now gone, everybody mourns him.
And they play Amazing Grace.
Yep. They see how wrong they were about him, and they should have cherished him when he was still here. But at least in the movie's final moments, they try to honor Superman's memory by forming a team of do-gooders to carry on in his memory.
Yeah, and like the scene at the end where Batman confronts Lex, I'm like, yes, that is a terrifying scene, and I wouldn't want to confront Batman in a dark hallway.
Nope, never again.
At least he didn't brand Lex. He just misses him and hits the wall, and I kind of jumped in my seat. It's like, whoa.
Oh boy, oh god. And then of course we see all that stuff happening back there. Batman vows never to fail Superman again as they go to find Arthur, Barry, and Victor.
Yeah.
And of course we see that Superman may be alive, maybe not. We'll have to wait for a future movie to tell y'all about that.
Yeah.
But now that I'm pretty sure that's everything that we wanted to talk about with Dawn of Justice, what are your final thoughts about it?
Oh God, what happened with this movie?
I don't know, man.
Like I said, Zack Snyder was trying to combine too many ideas into one. It's trying to be, like I said, it's trying to be Wonder Woman, Justice League, The Dark Knight, The Death of Superman, and Batman v Superman, plus Dark Knight Returns, all in one movie, and it just... I mean, it didn't fail, but it didn't really exceed expectations either.
No.
Because people have been building up to this for years. A live-action fight between Batman and Superman, them together on the big screen. That's great. But with the way it was executed, yikes.
Oh my goodness.
So, at best, at least I can forgive a lot of this movie because a lot has changed in 5 years. And some of the stuff in the movie... is good. Like we said, Batman's bits are the best part of this movie. And if this movie was solely about Batman, no other heroes, no other connections to anything DC related, just him, maybe add a Batman villain or two, then I feel like we would have a better understanding. But as is, I still think this version of Batman is really good, but this movie has a lot of convoluted problems.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, but... yeah, I mean, I may like it, but I still think it's like the weakest out of the DCEU. It's like the low bar for me it's like the bottom one for me out of the 10 so far. Mike, what about you?
Me, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. This movie is a mixed bag of emotions, feelings, trials, tribulations. It's really much an experience to get through this movie. It's a rite of passage, or at the very least it was before they released the Snyder Cut months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is the new rite of passage. But seeing this movie on the big screen five years ago really defined who I would become as a comic book lover, a hero enthusiast, someone who would basically make these characters a pillar of their lives going forward. I love Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, and Diana Prince. They are the foundations of the DC universe as a whole. The world cannot exist without them. And this story tried to bring all of them onto the big screen at once. It succeeded in many, many, many things, but also failed in many, many, many things.
Yep.
This movie is not perfect, but it is not god-awful horrendous either. It's just below average.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah, so how would you rate it?
Honestly, like I said, there are a few positives that keep up this movie, like maybe go back to watch it a couple times, but it's not like a perfect balance of good and bad. This is like more bad than good. But again, this movie is not god-awful, but it is painfully below average, and I feel like it's not really... like, it loses focus a couple times.
It loses focus.
Like, it doesn't really know what kind of movie it's trying to be. Is it trying to be a Batman movie? Is it trying to be Man of Steel 2? Is it trying to be a Justice League movie? I don't know. It's like all over the place, like how we were with this episode. So,
and I honestly don't think we'll ever know. And maybe that's part of the fun.
Yeah, but if you do decide to watch this movie, please do everything you can to watch the 3-hour Ultimate Edition, because that honestly is the only definitive way to watch this movie. If you watch the theatrical cut, you're gonna get lost.
You're gonna
get still lost with the extended cut, but at least you're not gonna be as lost.
Yes, pretty
so
much.
With all that said, I at best have to give Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice a easy 6.5 out of 10.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I get you right there. As I said, for me, this movie is below average. It's its dialogue is repetitive and pretentious. The characters are very much pale intimidations of what their overall character should be, but the film gets along nice with some very quirky moments, some very excellent special effects, some very incredible cinematography, and some very much standout moments that I will always recognize as reasons why I continue to watch the DC Cinematic Universe. People were completely turned off by this movie and never came back to the other films, which I do feel sorry for you guys, though. I'm really sad that this film did not please you the way I did. All I can tell you is, though, everything that follows this movie is so much better.
Really? Even the third film?
Well, I mean, maybe not that. But
that's what I thought.
But I mean, everything after the third movie, the one we're doing next in this cinematic universe.
Yeah. Basically, you could say the DCEU is kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, where the career is the epitome of a roller coaster.
Yeah, pretty much. It starts slow, goes up,
goes down, flat lines, and then goes back up
again. And then goes back up again, exactly. So, my final ranking for Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, directed by Zack Snyder from 2016, is a very fair, very honest F+ letter grading.
Whoa!
I'll give this film an F+. I only save the Fs. They are very much varied, honestly. So this is probably one of the first times on behind the screens that I've given an F ranking on anything. Let's just describe this very quickly before we close out the episode. The F pluses are the needs improvement films, the ones that are not good to watch, but they had just enough good things to make me say, you know what, you were overall not the best, but you had a lot of good things in you, so I'm going to give you a pass on this one. The regular Fs are just the average bad ones. They're just bad for the sake of being bad. And then there's the F minuses, the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, what do you classify as an F minus?
I can't tell you because then that'll spoil their future episodes. So basically, all I'll say is that yes, I thought this film was painfully below average. A lot of good, a lot of bad, but for
mostly bad?
Mostly bad. F+ for me, my friends.
Okay, so that wraps up, and thank God we got through that one.
Yes, we did, my friends.
At least it didn't make us lose our sanity like some other movies.
Some other movies eventually will, my friends.
Yeah.
But don't worry, on our next episode of Behind the Screens, we will be finishing Season 3 of Batman the Animated Series. I believe so. And then after that, our next movie be returning for the third film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, 2010's Iron Man 2.
I think I spoke too soon with bad. Anyway, but that's all for next time. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
Have yourselves a great night and take care.
Adios, my friends.